Welcome back to the Old Iron Lover channel. This is Bob, and we're going to continue with our shop tune-up series, and we've been working lately on the lathe. We're going to correct another problem, which may or may not really be a problem on most lathes, but it's just an improvement. Give credit to Robin Renzetti, which is where I saw this first done. I think there's other guys that have done it since. And I'm not really reinventing the wheel, but I may have my own take on a couple of things. So the compound, I don't use it very much. It's once in a while I want to turn a taper, once in a while I'm single point threading and I use it, but most of the time it just is a source of chatter and vibration. And I've noticed that if I'm making a fairly heavy cut with a little bit of chatter or something, the feed handle will start moving on its own. It'll start vibrating around a little bit. So I'm sure it's taken some accuracy away from it. So just in general, one of the ways to get rid of all that is just to take the compound out, build a solid piece that goes in here to take its place. Another problem I've run into a little bit is even though I've milled off the top of the base here for the tool post, it's still under a little bit of load and the right conditions. The tool post will tend to rotate slightly. So we're going to try and correct a couple of those things around this time. So I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, we're going to start off by disassembling down to the cross feed here. First thing to do is take off the tool post. And one of the changes I may make is there is a kind of a common fix for, or just a change. Replace the nut with one that has a built-in handle on it, so you don't have to go chasing the wrench to loosen and tighten that. That may be kind of made a moot point by one of the changes I'm going to make anyway to the insert that goes in between the cross feed and the tool post. On the bottom side of this, bring it up close so you can see it, there's a hole in here, and I believe that is or can be used for an indexing pen. So when I put this back together with the block underneath it, I'll have a dowel in there that will index the thing and hold it right at 90 degrees to the lathe bed. So the next thing we're going to do is take the compound off, and it's held in with a couple of set screws, and inside the cavity where the set screws are, if you take these all the way out, I'm going to take them all the way out. As you can see, it's a bit of it's a grub screw, but inside there's another piece. Let me get this apart. If I remember, I can just wiggle this a little bit. There we go. It's coming now. It's a really nice slip fit in there. I have to show you what I'm running up against here. It's not an insurmountable problem here. Anyway, there's a couple of little pins in there that are tapered to fit the post that the thing swivels on. and they come in from the sides and they're held in by the screw, and they basically lock up against the dovetail that's on this piece. There we go. Okay, now I'll turn it around, you can see it. So there's the dovetail, and those locks come in here and hold everything together tight. And push those out. And here's one of them. And I'll get the other one. There's the other one. So, now I have a couple of choices, and I'm glad I got this apart and started looking at it before I made too many plans. Wipe it down here. Yeah, I'm not real sold on on just using the dogs to hold everything in place. So I'm going to get my precision ground stones that I got from Steve Lang, and there's a little burr right there. I might as well go over the whole thing and make sure it's clean. And then next step will be to measure the thickness, or all the things I need to measure to get the materials to build the new piece. And I noticed that there's 2 threaded holes in here. I was planning on adding some threaded holes. I don't have to worry about it now because they're already in there. So what I plan to do is, when I build the block, I'm guessing I'll build it round. It'll just lay right in here. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, I will countersink some holes and put some socket head screws in here to hold that thing down tight. And then to get absolute alignment, I'll probably drill the alignment pin hole that was on the tool post in, such as it'll line everything up first, and then these 2 bolts will secure it, and then the 2 set screws with the dogs behind them will finish the job. So anyway, let me grab a couple of stones here. They actually ring together slightly. They're so well machined. You can feel them pulling apart. Fine side, and I'll get the coarse side. You can hear them grind a little bit right at the beginning, and then they're good. All right, let's go over this. You'll see I'm hitting a spot right there. This looks pretty clean, but that's... Okay, I think that piece is ready. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is measure the diameter of this pin here. So my measurements vary 6/10 from one to the other. We'll probably go with a 2.2484, something like that. and then test fit it until we get a nice smooth fit. That is the only critical measurement in my estimation. Everything else is just to make it look and feel good. So the outside diameter of this is just what I'm going to start out with. The stock I'm going to start out with is 4.875. Go to that. Well, I also need to measure this flat here and the depth to this piece here and so forth, so I get the right amount of dovetail in there. Okay, other measurements we're going to obtain along the way will be diameter of this hole, diameter of this hole, center to center distance out, and the location of those two threaded screw holes on the cross feed. Well, as luck would have it, I don't have a spare lathe, so I'm going to reassemble my lathe so I can turn parts. Just so you see what's going on. This is the bottom of this is what the new part needs to look like. But I'm going to get a piece of like 5-inch round, about this thickness or a little more, so I have something to hang on to. I'm going to make this piece separate, and I will make a tight press fit in there, and I'll freeze it and heat it and drop it in, and then that should take care of it. So I'm going to make this piece first, and I need the lathe to get on that. I'm going to start off by facing this off and spot drilling it so I can put a live center in it, keep everything squared up. So. So what I'm going to do is turn this, I'm going to start on this end. I'm going to turn the 1-inch piece off first, or the whatever that is, inch and 3/4. That's going to be the piece that's going to be press fit into the bore of the main body of the thing. Then I'm going to flip it around and get this dialed in on the forejaw. And well, actually it didn't matter. I'm just going to get this mounted in the chuck, and then I'll come in and cut the major diameter and then cut the taper there. So okay, I'm using the VFD to slow it down. I've got my caliper set at 1 inch. Just going to scribe a line in that blue line there. I'm going to stop here and let it cool down so I get my proper dimensions and come back after lunch. Okay, well, back to work. This thing's cooled down now. I'm going to mic it and see where we're at. 18451. So I need to take another 40 off and then do the final final turn. So, okay, got our machine set up here. We're ready. .7668. Okay, I got 16 thousandths more from top. Let's see. 1.7499. That is gonna, it's a tenth short. That'll be just fine. Okay, now we're gonna get flipped around and re-rigged and everything to do the other cuts. Okay, off camera I hogged off some of the metal on this. We're getting down to the last, thousandth or two. I want to hit it dead when it's on, so I'm really sneaking up on it. I'm shooting for 2.2484. 2484. So I'm 4/10 under. I'm going to stop right there. Put a chamfer on the end of it. There we go. So yeah, I need, the way this compound is set, I need it swung over to the 60-degree position. One of those things where I got to think about it, but it's better to think about it and be slow than quick and wrong. Okay, now we look at it again here. Yeah, I'm going to have a 60-degree angle, which is really a 30-degree angle from here. So I have 60 degrees off of square in, and then I'm going to dive in. And I want this to move in a ½ inch when I get through with it all. So I'm going to set up some kind of indicator to watch that. The first thing I got to do is loosen up this. Square it up on the face of that. Okay, I'm getting ready to set up this circular tapered cut, and I've got a measurement from the back of this to where the plunge starts for that cut. The deepest part of the cut is going to be on this end, and I'm going to take it with the compound, stepping out further and further, ending at this location each time until I come back to meet a line here at about 188 thousandths, which is what I measured off the drawing for the other end of it. So this comes back to 0. Now double check my 242 there and see that that's right. Yeah, it's real close. There's a radius on the tube, so we're getting a little more. Okay, and we'll keep coming back to this 0 each time. So I've got this set at 0 when it was touching off and at the right depth this way. So that's locked in place. Now I'm going to just keep advancing this a little further down the cut. Okay, that's it for that piece, and so this should fit in the hole in the big base plate that we turned in the mill. This piece should be complete. Should this be a press fit in there? Everything else is not super critical on the dimensions. So. Well, the lathe is tied up on something else. I'm going to go ahead and face this off in the mill, and then I'm going to flip it over and face off the bottom of it and cut it to the final thickness. And I had a little time finding enough stuff to clamp this, but what I did, the other side is just like this side. So on the other side, I put two of these in and clamped them down tight to the bed, and then I ran this adjustable clamp up against it and then forced it this direction, you know, toward those two I just put in. And the way this works is it's kind of wedge shaped, and as you push down on it, it pushes in as well. Then I put these two in and put a wedge clamp on the outside, on the right side here, and cranked it down. So we have two of these things pushing against these four things. So anyway, just touched off, and I'm ready to start running back and forth and taking this down until I got a smooth surface. By the way, just before I did all that, I also trammed in the mill, so it's within a thousandth both directions. Of course, as soon as I release all the tables and everything that I had locked while I was tramming it, it's going to move a little bit, but I can't help that. All I can do is get it as good as I can get it. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take a 20/1000 cut, and then we'll go back and forth and see if we have any places we missed. If so, we'll take a bigger cut. Okay, now I'm going to take about a 5/1000 cleanup pass. And I'm also going to speed up the cutter. That will be 1750 RPM. Quite a bit faster. I'll cut my X feet down a little bit, and that's to give myself hopefully a nice finish. Now you can see the pattern here, but you can't feel it. This last one I bumped the Z and it's not quite right, but these you can't feel that. Okay, here we go again. The thickness we're looking for is the same height as from here to the top right here. And that way when I put this block in, I won't change my tool height any. So anyway, I'll come back when I get everything set up for the next side. Okay, now we're just taking a 5/1000 finishing cut, and we're going to take smaller step overs and just to make it as smooth as finish as possible. Last pass on the finishing cut. Now we're going to drill the biggest drill I have, which is going to be 1.25 inches. We're going to go down. This will be the clearance hole for the boring bar. We're going to go down to 1 inch plus just a hair. The piece that's going to be press fit into that is a 1.75 inches, and by about 1 inch. And I want to give it just a little extra so I have a good seat against here. Okay, anyway, and if I take a little more off with the surface grinder or whatever, that'll give me some clearance. So I might even give myself 0.100, I don't know. Okay, next to the last pass, 25 thousandths off this time, and then a few, just to finish it, the final. Okay, I think we got it. I mic it out at 2.5 thousandths, and I think that's the maximum for that size of a interference fit. I am going to heat it and expand the bore before I press it in, so I want it to be a real tight fit. So. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And if you like the video, we'll give it a thumbs up. And if you like the channel, by all means subscribe. And if you have a comment to make, you think I'd like to hear, well, feel free to do that. And till the next in this series, happy trails.